The worst things that will ever happen to you have already been decided, and your desperate struggle to pretend they are not coming is the exact reason you are suffering right now. You are running from shadows, hoping that if you close your eyes tightly enough, the dark will disappear. But the universe does not bargain with your fear. We build fragile fortresses of toxic comfort, believing that a smooth path is a safe one, yet every minor inconvenience shatters our peace. Stop. Look at what we have become. Today, you will dismantle that fragility. You will discover the ancient psychological technology known as neural armor, a system of cognitive resilience forged in the fires of the Roman Empire that modern clinical neuroscience is only now beginning to comprehend. By mastering the dual concepts of Premeditatio Malorum and the dichotomy of control, you will transform your mind from a glass vase into an iron shield. Let us journey back to the year 41 of the Common Era. The Roman Emperor Claudius banishes one of the greatest minds of the ancient world, Lucius Annius Seneca, to the barren, rocky island of Corsica. Imagine the sudden, violent collapse of your entire existence. One day, you are a celebrated senator and philosopher at the heart of the civilized world, surrounded by marble halls, literary acclaim, and immense wealth. The next day, you are cast onto a wild, windswept rock in the middle of the sea, stripped of your status, separated from your family, and left with nothing but the clothes on your back. Most people would break under this weight. They would weep, curse the heavens, and decay in quiet desperation. But Seneca possessed a secret weapon. In his profound writing, Consolation to Helvia, Seneca wrote, "No place is narrow which can contain so great a crowd of most glorious virtues. No exile is severe in which we may go accompanied by these." How is this possible? How does a man look at a prison island and see a sanctuary? It is because Seneca had spent his entire life practicing Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. He did not wait for disaster to strike to build his defenses. He rehearsed it daily. He walked through the dark corridors of his own imagination, experiencing exile, poverty, and death before they ever manifested in physical reality. When the emperor's soldiers arrived at his door with the decree of banishment, Seneca did not tremble. The event had already occurred in his mind 1,000 times. The shock was gone. The trauma was neutralized before it even touched him. He had already built his neural armor. Now, cross the Ionian Sea to the ancient city of Hierapolis, where a young slave named Epictetus spent his youth in chains. He did not own his life. He could be beaten, sold, or ruined at the whim of his master. Yet Epictetus discovered a freedom that no emperor could ever conquer. He formulated what we now call the dichotomy of control. In his handbook, the Enchiridion, Epictetus declared, "Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions." Epictetus realized that his physical chains belonged to his master, but his internal judgment belonged solely to him. His master could restrict his movements, and indeed, history suggests Epictetus was permanently physically impaired by his owner, but his master could not break his resolve. This is not mere passive endurance. This is a radical reclamation of agency. It is the understanding that your suffering does not come from external events, but from the story you tell yourself about those events. What are you actually trying to protect? Your comfort, your reputation, your bank account? The ancient Stoics understood that all of these are temporary loans from the universe, and the universe always collects its debts. Let us bring this ancient wisdom into the chaotic arena of the modern world. We live in an era of unprecedented comfort, yet we are drowning in an ocean of anxiety. We have heated homes, instant communication, and limitless food, yet a single critical email or a drop in our social media engagement can ruin our entire week. Why are we so fragile? It is because we have treated comfort as a virtue and shielded ourselves from the very concept of adversity. We are psychologically soft. We have built a world of absolute convenience, and in doing so, we have atrophied our mental muscles. But modern neuroscience and clinical psychology have made a stunning discovery. They have realized that the ancient Stoics were right all along. The highly successful clinical framework known as cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is directly descended from Stoic philosophy. Psychologists now use techniques like exposure therapy and decatastrophizing to treat severe anxiety and post-traumatic stress. What is exposure therapy? It is the deliberate, controlled exposure to the things you fear most in order to habituate your brain to the stress. It is, quite literally, Premeditatio Malorum practiced in a clinical laboratory. When you constantly visualize your worst-case scenarios, your brain ceases to perceive them as unknown, terrifying monsters. The amygdala, the ancient panic-driven center of your brain, quiets down. You build neural armor. Consider the transformation of a modern professional who adopts this mindset. Before this realization, they are a slave to the expectations of others. They wake up, check their glowing screens, and instantly absorb the panic of the world. They dread the possibility of losing their job, of being rejected, of getting old, or of losing their savings. They live in a constant state of low-grade, chronic terror. They are a leaf caught in a hurricane, tossing and turning with every shift of the wind. But after they forge their neural armor, everything changes. They wake up and actively contemplate the loss of their career, their health, and their loved ones. This sounds morbid to the uninitiated, but the result is not depression, it is a profound, intoxicating liberation. By staring directly into the eyes of their worst fears, they strip those fears of their power. When they step into their daily routine, they are no longer desperate for validation. Why? Because they have already survived the worst in their minds. They are operating from a place of absolute clarity. They know what is within their control, their effort, their preparation, their integrity, and they completely let go of what is not. They observe the chaos around them with the detached curiosity of a scientist studying a storm. They are no longer participants in the madness. They are the calm center around which the madness revolves. The traffic jam is not your enemy. Your expectation of an empty road is. To cultivate this unshakable state of mind, you must move beyond theory and engage in deliberate daily mental training. Here are 3 specific Stoic exercises that you must integrate into your life starting this very day. First, the morning siege. Before you touch your phone, before you drink your coffee, before the noise of the world invades your sanctuary, sit in complete silence for 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Do not search for pleasant thoughts or repeat empty, positive affirmations. Instead, conduct a mental rehearsal of disaster. Visualize the day ahead going completely wrong. Imagine your most important project failing. Imagine someone speaking to you with intense disrespect. Imagine getting into a minor traffic accident or discovering a sudden financial setback. Do not just think about these events, feel them. Let the spike of irritation rise within you, and then, in your mind, breathe through it. Watch yourself responding with calm, dignified silence. See yourself adapting immediately, without complaining, without blaming. By doing this, you perform a controlled burn in the forest of your mind. When the real fires of the day spark, there will be no fuel left for them to consume. You will look at the disruption and think, "Ah yes, I have already met you this morning." Second, the great filter. Throughout the day, as events unfold, you must constantly run your experiences through the filter of Epictetus's dichotomy of control. When you feel a sudden surge of anger, anxiety, or frustration, stop immediately. Ask yourself this direct question: is this circumstance entirely within my power to change right now? If the answer is no, if it is the weather, the stock market, the opinion of your boss, the traffic, or the behavior of another person, you must categorize it as indifferent. You must tell yourself, calmly and firmly, "This does not concern me." This is not an act of surrender. It is a calculated conservation of your precious mental energy. Why waste your life's force trying to control the wind? Turn your sails instead. Focus every ounce of your attention on the only things you actually own: your current thoughts, your current choices, and your current actions. If you can influence the situation, act with decisive, quiet energy. If you cannot, let it go as if it were a stone falling into a deep well. Watch it sink and remain undisturbed on the surface. Third, the voluntary deprivation. Once every month, you must deliberately choose to live as though your worst fears have already come true. For 3 consecutive days, eat only the simplest, cheapest food available: plain rice, beans, and water. Sleep on the floor instead of your comfortable bed. Wear your oldest, most basic clothing. Walk instead of driving or using luxury transport. Disconnect entirely from the digital world of entertainment and constant distraction. During this period, look at your simple surroundings and ask yourself Seneca's famous question: is this the condition that I feared? You will realize with a shock of profound joy that your survival does not depend on your luxuries. You will see that even in a state of absolute simplicity, your mind is intact, your virtue is undamaged, and your spirit is free. You will destroy the fear of poverty and loss by realizing that the bottom of the hill is actually a very solid place to stand. When you commit to these practices, a subtle but permanent shift begins to occur deep within your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of the universe. You no longer view hardships as punishments or bad luck. Instead, you begin to see every challenge, every betrayal, every loss, and every frustration as a heavy weight designed to strengthen your neural muscles. The world is no longer a hostile place trying to break you. It is a gymnasium for your soul. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king who ruled the entire Roman world while facing plagues, rebellions, and personal betrayal, wrote in his private journal, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let that truth sink into your bones. The very obstacle that you are complaining about right now is not blocking your path. It is your path. The difficult colleague is your practice partner for patience. The financial crisis is your training ground for resourcefulness. The painful disappointment is your opportunity to master self-reliance. You are no longer a fragile piece of glass that shatters when dropped. You are a ball of fire that consumes everything thrown into it, growing larger and hotter with every piece of fuel. You are the architect of an inner citadel that no external force can ever breach. Do not return to your old life of comfortable anxiety. Do not allow your mind to be drifted by the endless currents of triviality and fear. Step forward into the world today with your head held high, wearing your neural armor with quiet, unshakable pride. Remember that the quality of your life is determined solely by the quality of your thoughts, and those thoughts are yours alone to command. Stand firm, be the mountain. But as you begin to master this inner strength, you must prepare yourself, for there is an even deeper, far more radical truth that lies just beyond the horizon of mental toughness, a devastatingly powerful concept that will force you to question the very nature of who you think you are and how you interact with reality itself. Prepare your mind, for what comes next will demand everything you have.